Evening. I hope you guys can hear us and see us loud and clear. Good evening on YouTube.
Hi, Sisiemisi.
Good evening on Insta.
Hello, Tulu.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So, Fums, you want to tell our viewers what you've been up to this weekend? Hey, Warner.
Yeah. So, went to a wedding yesterday. So, my brother got married yesterday. My younger brother, my youngest brother, got married yesterday. So, we went to registry. The maximum people that can attend is 15. And even though, Essex and London has gone into the high tier of the 3 tiers, which means that you're not allowed to socialize, but you are still allowed to go to weddings. So we had the wedding, which was on the same day that it was originally meant to be, just, markedly reduced numbers. So that was interesting. It's actually quite nice. It was just a family affair, really.
I mean, just sitting there yesterday, for me, I was just like, my God, how our lives have changed forever, at the wedding registry, you got your face mask on, the photographs, you got your face mask on. It's just, boy, I mean, it's one of those things. Anyway, right. So it was on our way back, yesterday, actually, that we're talking about, that you asked a question about this EndSARS.
Was it on the way there? I think it was on the way there.
No, it was on the way back.
Was it on the way back?
Yeah. So Fumi was like, this EndSARS movement, I mean, what's it all about, really? And at that point, we were thinking, okay, what are we going to do on the Blue Sofa? Usually we have all kinds of ideas. I was okay, well, this actually might be an interesting topic, because usually we test out these conversations on ourselves. If it's of interest to us, we're sure that it will be of interest to others as well. So I've been following the conversations on Instagram, YouTube, just reading the news and all that. So I thought, well, why not? We could actually do it. So today we're having a conversation about the movement in Nigeria, hashtag EndSARS. So essentially, SARS, SARS, stands for the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. It's a police special unit, originally set up to do good work, but then it's become a tool for harassment and all sorts of brutality. So the young or younger people decided to protest against it, and quite quickly, actually, they had a breakthrough, and of course, SARS has ended, but the campaign continues, because SARS is not just it's not just one thing. It's not just it's not just about brutality. There's certain other things endemic in the system that make these things happen. So now the campaigns are ongoing, and it's quite fascinating, and it's getting the whole world's attention. So whether you're Nigerian or not, I think it's something that, in fact, earlier on today, I saw this guy in America, this, what do you call his name now? This movie producer, Tyler Perry. Yeah, Tyler Perry was talking about Sorosoke. So what does Sorosoke mean? So it's getting the attention of the whole world. So today we thought we'd have a conversation around it. Since on the Blue Sofa, it's all about, conversations that affect everyday life, and what people have to say about it, but more importantly to us, what God has to say about it. So today we thought, well, we would have some guests with us who have been participating in the whole campaign, albeit they've been in diaspora, but nonetheless lending their voice to the ongoing campaign. So we're going to be joined by 2 people, like I said. One of them, actually, as we speak, is on
a protest.
On a protest, yeah, in London. EndSARS protest in London. So she's going to join us from that campaign somewhere in central London. But the first person I'm going to ask to join is Toby. Toby, I'm going to try and find him. Toby, actually, I know very well, has been involved in, all this youth movement. At the moment, he actually pioneers what he calls Lead Young. Lead Young. Hey, Uncle Tobes, how you doing? Oh, volume now, volume. No, we can't. Keep in mind that we're also on YouTube as well.
You need to put your volume up.
So I'm not sure whether it's from my hand here, but we can't hear you. Can you hear me now? Okay. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Thank you.
I might need to.
And your light needs to be better.
Oh my God! Some of us has dark skin.
We know. That's why we've had to work on our own light on this side.
Okay, 1 second. Just give me 2 minutes. Let me try something.
2 minutes. That's a lot of time.
Okay, 6 seconds.
Okay, 6 seconds. Okay. All right. Try and sort something out.
So maybe you want to talk about Lead Young. You're saying that he's.
Yeah. So I mean, Toby currently, pioneers this Lead Young initiative, and the general idea is to work with young people like himself, aspiring leaders to break out of the status quo and do some amazing work. I won't go into all of Toby's background, but I know that there was a time that he actually moved back to Nigeria with a view of contributing to the the development of Nigeria, and he's had to come back. In fact, very recently was almost caught up in Nigeria during the COVID, but they managed to sort of get back in time. Right. So Toby is ready to join us again. Yeah. All right. Okay. Hopefully we should be able to see
him soon.
Is this somewhat better?
Yeah, it's a little better.
Yeah, the light is bright in my face.
Yeah, it's a little better.
Yeah, you.
Hope you can see.
I'm even sweating from the light already.
Okay. Wow. All right. So, thank you for joining us, Toby. I've done a bit of an introduction already. Do you want to tell us about Lead Young very briefly, and then we'll get into this conversation?
Yeah. So, Lead Young is a movement that I started, and the reason why I started it was I self-reflect a lot, and I realized, well, by the help of the Holy Spirit, actually, I was prompted to see that the world we live in at the moment, there's a gap between the older generation and our generation. Is one of those ones where people in my generation might feel like the older generation have failed them in one way or the other. I don't. In regards to that statement, I'm not in support of it. But I can understand where people are coming from, and the other generation too can look at us and say, "You guys are snowflakes. You guys complain too much. You guys can do way more than you're doing, and all of that stuff." So, and I've been lucky to facilitate conversation between both generations, and I realized that us as a generation, we need to stand up. And when I say stand up, we need to stand up and actually lead as young people. Yeah. But not just leaders, not to dispute the fact that we have an older generation ahead of us. It's to leverage on the experience and work in line with them to deliver a sustainable future, a future that works for every single person, not just the few. So that's basically the background of Lead Young, and the point is to look across all spheres of influence and see how we can push that change agenda.
Okay. Before we get into the EndSARS conversation, so just so we're clear, where's the dividing line? When you say younger generation, older generation, because I would think I fall in the younger generation, right? So
this is part of when it comes to defining what the younger generation is. I say millennials. If you fall in the millennial bracket, then that's the younger generation. But now even Generation Z or the Z generation, they're even more active than the millennials, should I say. If you see what they've done in Nigeria with this whole EndSARS movement, it's absolutely amazing. Like, I was blown.
Yeah.
I was blown. Like, they are very much, and I think they're even much more active than the millennials. They are more forced. They're ready for it. They have energy. But when I say older generation, I mean anything outside of millennials, because millennials are seen as, I believe, we're the scapegoat generation, where we just have to, we are the ones that have to take a lot of, should I say, I don't want to use the word suffer, but I see us as a scapegoat generation, because generations are asking us questions.
Yeah.
And if we cannot answer, they're ready to go. They're not waiting for millennials. They're ready to go for it.
Yeah.
And the difference between that generation and the older generation, so we're basically the bridge. And if we don't stand up to be that bridge, which is what I'm saying with Live Young, then I just see it's like a building collapsing, more or less. So if you're a millennial, then you're part of that younger generation that I'm talking about.
Okay.
And like older generation, anything outside of the millennial bracket.
Thank you for excluding us. That's all right.
No.
We understand.
We have people like Pastor Banks. So this is why I say I know that there are people that mean well for our generation. I want to see us do better. That they want to see a change in our generation, but unfortunately, I feel like a large population in that generation don't necessarily agree, and that's fine. No one's arguing. It's about how do we leverage on the experience they have and the energy we have to deliver a sustainable future. That's literally what it is.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of EndSARS now, I mean, how tell us a little bit about your journey to Nigeria and your experience and your aspirations at the time, and how this all, how you can connect to this EndSARS movement.
Yeah. So so prior to me moving in 2012 or 2013, sorry, I was one of the people that went to Nigeria for Christmas to go and enjoy, as it's called, party play since 2007 actually. So I jumped on the bandwagon quite early. But obviously, once Nigeria, you come back here, you see the difference between the two countries, and I thought, you know what, there's so much we can do and make things better. So 2013, I packed my bag, savings, all of that stuff into Nigeria, and I started an online grocery store. Well, then later started a farm. But again, this is this whole thing where I say I want people to learn from my experience. I could have leveraged on the fact that there were older people that I could have learned from. Well, I was one of those people that was just pushing it by myself, and a few young people. So, which is part of the reason why I say we need the older guys, we need people with experience, we need mentors that can tell us do this, manage this way, manage things that way. But anyway, I made a mess of it. I put my hands up. I made a mess of it. Obviously, if it was in the UK, things were different because systems to support you. I think I don't know. You might be some people might be familiar with the story that I use as an example that I needed to get a permit to trade some of the farm produce we were growing, and the permit was basically 500 naira. If you know, 500 naira is basically like a pound.
Yeah.
So I went to the Ministry of Agriculture to get the permit, all of that stuff, and they kept on telling me to come back. I was going back and forth for about 4 months. So on this day, I just went, and one guy was there. So I just saw one guy came in, the same permit I wanted. He got it right there and there, and he walked out. So I had to go out and say to him, I said, "Excuse me, can I just check what permit you just got?" And it was the same permit I wanted. And I said to him, "I've been coming here for 4 months." He said, "There's no booklet, there's no this, there's that, all of this. And the guy said, "Oh, you don't understand the language. You need to give them envelope. If you give them envelope, you get your permits now." And I kid you not, literally, what I've been chasing for 4 months, I've got it in 30 minutes. So if I have those kind of experiences, it just shows that. So those experiences are the things. If that wasn't there, that would obviously support what I was doing. But with those experiences, it gets tiring, and you just feel like things are not moving at the pace you want it to move. Then you throw in the towel and be like, you know what, that's it.
So in terms of
so I came. Obviously, I came back to the UK.
Yeah. So in terms of almost every younger person that I know that have ties to Nigeria have either directly been affected by SARS or indirectly in that they know somebody's experience who's been affected. Do you have any of those stories?
So if we start those stories now, we're not going to end anytime soon. I directly, I don't have a SARS experience. I've seen SARS in action.
Yeah.
I have so many friends that have been picked up by SARS. I was still speaking to one today, and they were picked up at like 2 o'clock in the morning on the island. They got taken to the mainland. They had to pay like 300K to like.
That's 300,000 naira, yeah.
300,000 naira to be released, which is a lot of money.
It is.
That's like if the minimum wage in Nigeria is 18K, well 30K now, that's 10 months salary.
Yeah.
That they have to cough up to release. I've seen them in action live at Lekki toll gates. I've seen them jump in someone's car and literally just told him drive. And I was asking please, and they were like, SARS. Even when me and my friend went for a friend's wedding in March, we were just saying to ourselves that listen, if SARS stops you, it's not worth it. Don't argue. Like it's actually not worth it. Not argue with them. Just listen to them. Don't forget, do you know who I am? Do you know my daddy? All that statement, forget it.
Yeah. Just
listen, don't argue. It's money they want, give them the money, and that's it. So I haven't. Well, if I think of my own personal experience as well as in Nigeria, my personal experience was more with police. Well, you don't even know the difference. There's so many people in uniform in Nigeria. You don't even know the difference between SARS and police. This one will wear uniform down. Everyone decides. So my own personal experience is police. Like again, on the farm, you had Fulani people that came to the farm to destroy the farm. They had their cattle walking on the farm. Went to the police station to report them. Police station. The policemen then, and this is again before you went to before they even listened to me. After that, when Nigeria, you have to call someone that you know that will know someone, and upon all of that stuff, we still ended up. The police officer said to me that before they leave the station, I have to give them money to come with me to the Fulani people. We got to the Fulani people. Police then advised and said, "Listen, just bribe these guys. Just bribe these guys. Just literally." So police were advising to bribe the people who were destroying my own property. So yeah, so there's just if you police experience, SARS experience, there's too much to start going for. What SARS personally, I haven't experienced, but I have so many friends that will that told me different things that's happened. Yeah.
Now I remember. I mean, obviously, before I left Nigeria at the time, I mean, there was no SARS. They are not formed SARS at the time.
When was SARS formed?
Sorry?
When was SARS formed?
Well, I'm not sure. Probably would
93, I believe. 93.
Was it 93?
I think they're about 28 years old. I think that's about how old SARS is.
So it would have been around then. But then I remember an experience that
I think so.
I remember an experience that I had, but this definitely was before SARS. So I was probably, like a teenager, and I'd gone to my friend's house to pick up some videotapes, just up the road. And this is just, like VHS videotapes, right?
Back in the day.
Yeah. So.
Oh, 92, so they're 28 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I had these videotapes, and I was sort of, I was walking back home, and the police officer stopped me and said, "What am I carrying?" And I could be quite stubborn at times, I'm like, "Come on, I'm just carrying videotapes. What's all this sort of stuff? This is just, as a teenager." And then, would you believe that I ended up in the police station? Behind the counter for carrying this and and it's things like this because these guys are there to protect lives, to protect
they're meant to be.
They're meant to, yeah. So it's the same endemic issue that you see across, whereby it's just everybody, they are looking out for their own pocket and their own upkeep. And I mean, what we found now, one of the things that SARS is looking to achieve is that they will be well paid for what they do. I mean, we quite understand that these guys are probably paid literally nothing. In fact, I've heard stories where the police officers or within the community, they're the ones that actually build the police station. Wow. So if I mean, obviously to keep themselves working, so there's a whole lot that goes into that, and it's definitely. This is a movement whose time has come, So SARS has ended or has been disbanded, but the movement continues. So why is that?
I genuinely believe that SARS was just a catalyst. This whole EndSARS thing was just a catalyst. Nigerians, and even when I say Nigerians, I mean Nigerians that live in Nigeria, Nigerians that live outside of Nigeria. Everyone has a pain point about the country. Like you go into Nigeria, you see certain from the time you land at the airport, you're like, my God, like what exactly is this? So EndSARS is, I think EndSARS was a catalyst. It was one of those ones that I really believe God made them misbehave, because Nigerians would just, because there's always something that kicks this thing up. Occupy Nigeria was the whole subsidy thing, the fuel thing, and now EndSARS, you kill someone, and just watching that video of them shooting someone, I don't.
Did you watch it?
So I saw it. So this is, and again, I'm always careful with all these videos that you see online. So I've seen 2 videos of what kicked off. What kicked off this most recent one. It was a thing of where the guy was dragged outside of a hotel and it was shot. So, and they basically threw the body in the back of their van and all of that stuff. So I saw that video. But there was also another video. I saw them walking the streets and they were just shooting. So now I know that, again, following politics in Nigeria and all of that stuff, people always manipulate videos. The videos of people that something entirely different. There's something that happened in Ghana. They said it was in Ondo State the other day. So I'm always careful with these things. But these things had the SARS guys. Like the guy was wearing their uniform. So I wouldn't say I'm 110% sure that video was what kicked it off, but I've seen videos. Now EndSARS, I think, like I said, is a catalyst, is an awakening. Nigerians, I went to Nigeria in March and I was speaking to a few young people in Abuja, and you could tell that everyone was waiting for that opportunity. Everyone was waiting for that opportunity. And what I find really interesting with this is, again, there's no leader. It's not a thing of where you can point at, this is the person leading this protest. People are trying to hijack it. People that have political agenda and all of the church, and people are woke. People know. People can see through you. They know what you're about. So EndSARS is, I think this is where I feel like the government, or should I say the leaders, are missing it, because what they keep saying is, they said we should end SARS and we have ended SARS. It's more than EndSARS. People are not talking about the systemic problems in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And you can't keep talking about EndSARS if these are the other things people are talking about.
Yeah.
And you also need to listen. I think that's where a lot of people are missing it. Listen. You can't, for a president of a nation not to say anything says a lot to me personally. Like, it says a lot. You haven't said anything. Then the people that come out to speak, I was watching something on Channels News today, and the Senate president was like, the protest must end now. These guys are not listening. These guys, all this must end. If I think of Black Lives Matter, when we in the UK, everyone was quick to put their hands up that, yes, there's a systemic problem.
Yeah.
I can think of my company. Yes, there's a systemic problem. We're ready to listen. Let's see how we can progress. They're not doing that.
Yeah.
And you need to understand that these people have energy.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was university strike. All of a sudden, they're now saying they want to stop the strike so that people can go back to uni. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
These guys are not stupid. EndSARS, that you bring SWAT. Like, and I think this is where they're not getting it. That you can't. Nigerians are woken more than that.
Yeah.
Like, and the movement is more than one person. Like, I was reading this morning that, imagine, and this is the same Nigeria we talk about, that before they kicked off the protest today, first thing they did was in Lagos, Lekki Toll, first thing they did was to clean all the debts from yesterday.
Wow.
The people that protested.
Wow. They
cleaned the debts from yesterday. Then they had interdenominational sessions, prayer sessions. So they had their service outside of Lekki Toll, the Muslims spread outside of Lekki Toll, and they carried on with their protest. So if people are doing that and you're not understanding it, then I honestly, and you're saying you must end now. Or I have a friend that works for the government, and they've said to all of them that they have to come back to work tomorrow. And I'm like, that kind of language, we're not in a military, but you can't say must. You can't say, like, these people already, people have different, there's different things you can point at in Nigeria, different pain points, and people getting different things that you can point at. So I think that the EndSARS movement is just a catalyst, which is a good thing, because a lot of things will then come into light now. People will then obviously talk about the things that they need to talk about and all the problems in Nigeria. But I think the government is not understanding that this is more than EndSARS, because what they keep saying is, we've disbanded SARS, we disbanded. People are basically saying, that's your business. That's your. I was watching a video. The governor of Lagos was trying to speak to young people in Lagos, and they were saying, "Governor, which is a Davido song, Governor, they talk too much." From the time they're telling the governor to fem, like all this that you're doing is you need to come down to their level first. And personally, I think that's leadership, and I feel like that's what we don't have leaders, competent leaders. You need to come down and understand what they're saying first. Listen, not to think of where you're starting. You're not dealing with the roots. You're taking it from the top.
Yeah.
Go back to work. Stop the protest. But why are they protesting? Like, it's not just about SARS. Talk about the other things. So EndSARS is just a catalyst. Like, I think, and I hope the government sees that ASAP. I hope so, because speaking to my friends in Nigeria, speaking to my friends, in Lagos, it's just they're laughing. They're like, they don't know anything. That we're here, like we're here, we're waiting for them, kind of thing. We'll just carry on doing what we have to do.
Yeah.
So, because initially, even I was thinking that, you know what, after a few days, people probably, well, it doesn't seem like when people are doing all this cleaning, then they start a protest. You have people raising money. Like, it's a full-blown movement. You have people looking after people's welfare. People are taking food to the front line. Like, you have the guys protesting, the soldiers on the front line protesting.
Yeah.
And there's no leader.
Yeah.
But they've managed to organize this in a way that's working. There's a radio station at the Sorosuke Radio. They've come up with a radio station off the back of that, because apparently the media houses are also reporting fake news. So they've also managed to come up with a radio station where you can know that whatever you're getting from here is genuine news.
Yeah.
It's a full-blown, it's more than EndSARS. Like, it's a thing of where people have pain points. Yeah. And the government needs to understand that and then obviously take it from there.
Yeah. I think there are a number of reasons why this, when you say an idea or a movement whose time has come, the time could not be better, because for a number of reasons. Number one, of course, with technology, it makes it a whole lot easier. Social media for people to gather, for you to organize protests and all that using those platforms. But secondly, what Corona has done for a lot of people is that it's almost like the country is on lockdown, whereby a lot of people are at home. A lot more people are at home, but also even the children of the politicians that would normally be abroad and all over the place, a lot of them are at home. So now,
I find that interesting, though. I'm not going to that one. I'm not going to go there, because I really want to see what's going to happen. Because even I have friends that their dads are empowered, all this stuff, and they're protesting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think I genuinely want to see what's going to happen, because I believe this thing is in waves. Because soon the time is going to come where people are going to be called out to be accountable. Yeah. And I want to see what's going to happen then.
Yeah. And so the point about that is that the politicians' response would be measured, because they're thinking, if I instruct them to go and shoot, they might be my son that will hit, that the bullet will hit. And so the children are young, but they're not that young where the father will say, "Come back home now." No, they are grown up they are grown ups in their own right as well. But at the same time, no politician wants to lose a child. So there's a lot of interest, and people are woken to the whole idea, and more or less sort of supporting it. So I don't see this going away very, very soon, And
the international community is aware, so it's not just Nigerians.
Yeah, no, but in the international community, I've always been aware of things happening. Do you understand? But I think this is actually, and it's still early days, So do you think that the idea of not having a leader, I have a view on it. Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
So funny thing is, 2 weeks ago, so I was doing research on crowd theory, and I think honestly, I find things that is interesting, because I feel like you actually proved that theory wrong. And that theory always says is a thing of where you need an influencer, you need a leader figure to lead this thing. Obviously, this whole EndSARS has proven that wrong. Yeah. Now, do I think it's the right way to go? Is another question. I think and this is just my own thoughts. I think you can't have, with a movement like this, you need a few people to stand up.
Yeah.
You need a few people to stand up, a few people that would facilitate conversations. Not necessarily to stamp because it's not a movement that you can stamp you can't say, I am leading these people.
Yeah.
I think you need people that will facilitate conversations, like people that would listen and hear the government, and people that will be able to hold the government accountable.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing, because it's not just about listening. Yeah, okay, we'll listen, you give timelines, all of this stuff. But in those timelines, are we seeing changes? Are we seeing these things being done? So that's my thinking. And I think, and again, you need people that are credible, because it's not about just someone just coming up and just saying, you know what, I want to facilitate this dialogue. I want to do this. I want to do that. Nigerians are woken. A lot of people are quick to speak online and just say whatever they feel like they need to say. But honestly, who those people are going to be, I have no idea. Obviously, because the guys that we see online that tweet all the time, I don't even think half of these guys are going to listen to them. Yeah. Because there's also something about if you've eaten with these so-called leaders, who am I to listen? Like, I can't. If you've eaten with them, I can't. Why am I listening to you? Yeah. So, and this is the whole thing about when Nigerians are saying, you know what, when they wanted to contest for elections, they came to us. So now that is an issue, they should come to us and come and speak to us as a collective first. Then we can then say, yeah, that we'll have. But I think if I was in Nigeria, the conversation I'll be having with similar young-minded people is, how do we facilitate that conversation? Yeah. And when I say facilitate that conversation, is to also let the government understand that, you know what, it's a thing of where this is where we are. This is where you are. You need to hear, and we need to find practical solutions. Yeah. Because, like I said, you can't. This is 70 million young people in Nigeria. Where do you want to start? Mm-hmm. Like 70 million young people in Nigeria. Where do you want to start? So, I think young people now should. I'm not saying end the protest. That's not what I'm saying. The protest can go on, and you can facilitate forums in line with it. Yeah. Because once you stop the protest, then my belief is, looking at the leadership of the country, is in their heads, they'll probably think, oh, we've accomplished our goal. So let the protest go on and have a team of young people that are ready to facilitate that conversation, and then obviously have things that are agreed. But again, you need competent and credible people, not the same people that we hear from every day. And because that's what happened with Occupy Nigeria. Occupy Nigeria, someone said it was the leader, and apparently again, he got bribed and nothing happened after. Yeah. So this is it. And then again, I think and this is what I'm always careful. I don't say young people, because I feel like you have older guys that are even competent. So it's not about just because you have young people that are not competent. You have young people that their own thinking again is to get in there and act like the fathers, the corrupt fathers. Yeah. So you need competent people, old or young, to facilitate that conversation. And again, I can understand people being. It's not. And I asked my friend, I said, if you were in that opportunity, if you're in that position, what's the first thing you do? I personally, that's what I think I would do. I'm trying to network with a few young people, but a lot of people are like, you know what? The fact that the government is not even ready to listen, like, for the fact that they can't, like, you haven't even said any. The things that you're saying is more or less like, is an oppressive tone, more or less. So it just shows that you're not ready to meet us somewhere. So even the people that are meant to facilitate those conversations are saying, let's just keep protesting. They're not ready. Yeah. When they're ready, then we'll have this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, as a Christian, how does your faith inform your response to SARS?
So, I know the Bible talks about the oppressed, and I believe it's in Psalms and in Proverbs that you should stand. And this is why I say it's more than what do you call it? It's more than you being in Nigeria. Even you not being in Nigeria, there's different ways that you actually, your voice matters. The things that you say go a long way to this protest. The Bible talks about you standing for the weak. I'm sure it's Proverbs. It's Proverbs that says it. Proverbs 31, I think. The famous Proverbs 31 that people always quote to, obviously, when it comes to females. But there's also a part of Proverbs, I think 8 to 9, that talks about speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves and all of that stuff. And that, for me, that's where I stand, and that's the reason why I am speaking up for the oppressed. Yeah. Now, also, again, I genuinely believe that there was, I believe that 2020 in general came with, I don't want to say change of power. I don't want to say power changing hands, but I genuinely believe that God is doing something in 2020. Because when I started Leap Young, it was Jeremiah 111 about going to the lands, uproot the systems, and put new systems in place, or you work with people. I'm just paraphrasing it. Work with people and put new systems in place, because I just had that thing. That I knew that like this was coming. So for me, it's not a coincidence. If anyone thinks this is a coincidence, then I don't. But I leave it as that. But you look at Black Lives Matter, you look at COVID-19, you look at EndSARS, you look at what's happening in Thailand, you look at Hong Kong, you look at all this stuff that is happening, and you just think it's a coincidence. I don't understand. I genuinely believe that God is doing something, and this is why I say we all need to be sensitive to the Holy Spirit. That even as Christians, we need to be very, very sensitive to the Holy Spirit. People that are not Christians, they all have their own belief and their sayings, but I genuinely believe that there's as Pastor Shola has actually also said it, that there's a shift, and it's just not just a shift in one's faith in one specific area. It's a shift across the spectrum. Yeah. So I don't as a Christian, my thing is, one, speak up for the oppressed or for the weak. The second thing is, I genuinely believe that God is also doing something really, really, really critical this time, and people need to be very, 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 very sensitive. Because if you're not, and I said it I had a live this week ago. I said 2020 came with a serious awakening, and if 2020 doesn't wake you up, I don't know what else can wake you up. Yeah, that's genuinely how I feel. So yeah, that's my stance as a Christian.
Yeah, right.
Thank you,
Toby. There's a lot we can talk about, but we actually want to get our second guest in. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Toby.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. This has been an honor. This has been a privilege. Thank you. You know me, I'm always on the blue sofa myself. I'm on the grey sofa, by the way. I'm on the grey sofa now. I'm always dialing on the blue sofa. So thank you.
All
but
right.
people, please keep speaking for the oppressed, regardless if they're Nigerians or non-Nigerians. Yeah. For the weak people, please keep speaking in your own way. A tweet, a message, anything. Please do keep speaking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Take care. Yeah. It's gonna come up himself. All right. Thank you, Toby, for that. We're gonna invite next guest on in a minute.
So that was quite interesting. Learned a lot about the EndSARS movement.
Yeah. Hey.
Hello. Hi, Bome. Where are you?
At a protest. So the people are protesting for EndSARS. We're in central London. It's been going on since 2:30.
Wow.
We did a march, and then people are here, and everyone is holding posters and shouting EndSARS. So yeah, that's where I am.
Has it been? I mean, what's it been like? Is there a lot of energy around? What's the buzz like?
Initially, we started from like High Commission, and everyone was shouting. There was a lot of energy, and people have marched around. And now we're like in the park. People are a bit tired now, but the energy was very high initially, and everyone's actually very, very passionate about it. Yeah. Which is very beautiful to see. I don't think Nigerians have come together like this in a way in a very long time.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah.
So by way of introduction, do you want to introduce Bome?
Hi, Bome. So Bome has multiple talents, shall we say? But she writes, and she wrote an article this week, which was published in the Independent, about the movement. So we thought it was a good opportunity to bring her on to share kind of, why she's so passionate about the EndSARS movement.
Yeah. So what about the EndSARS? Why are you passionate about this?
So I think it's what a lot of people have been saying, that beyond EndSARS, like it's more than EndSARS. It's a national movement. So I'm passionate about change in general. So just change in Nigeria. And I think because a lot of us that are younger, so we grew up in Nigeria, then we came here to school in England or other countries, and then we saw how countries can actually function, how they can run. And so it's that added frustration is that actually our country can be a lot better than it is. So I feel like a lot of us that are younger, that came here or went to America or Canada or whatever, we are very, very passionate about this driving change. And also our generation is social justice generation. So we're not like the kind of people that will see people suffering on the road. Even if it doesn't apply to us, we're still passionate about that person suffering on the road. And so I feel like I'm passionate about change in Nigeria in general. And I feel like Nigeria has so much potential and we're wasting that potential. And so when I saw this buzz, I was very excited to join in and actually write about it. And so as everybody, like there's no leader. That's one thing that's been very fascinating. And the older generation is quite surprised that how can you have a movement like this with no leader? But because everyone is equally as passionate about the same thing.
I mean, someone said that, and I quite agree. So for me, the idea of having no leader, what I think would eventually happen is that a leader would emerge eventually. But the fact that, and that's one of the reasons why it's sustained, because if there was a leader now, the government could arrest the person, or they could negotiate with one person. But this time around, there's not one person to negotiate with. If you think you're negotiating with one, another group have organized themselves somewhere else, and they mobilize themselves via social media to keep it going. And also the fact that there's a clear, I think there's a very clear agenda, there's a clear mandate, there's a clear, there are things that they are looking for, and that's what, once that is in place, people galvanize around those things, so this is a movement like no other, personally, and I'm excited to be alive at this time to really see what is going on. So how can people support this? I mean, how can we support it?
I mean, I'll say first of all, people should follow the hashtag on Instagram, on Twitter, so EndSARS, EndSWAT, because they tried to change it from SARS to SWAT, but everyone's saying also end that, and end police brutality in Nigeria. So if you follow those hashtags, at least you get updated on what's going on. And every day there's something new going on. People have set up mental health services to actually help people that have been oppressed by SARS. People are setting up hotlines that you can call, and so all that information you get from following the hashtag, basically. So following it, and also following the accounts that are organizing these things, which is EndSARS Response, and also a feminist coalition. So feminist coalition is actually raising funds, and they raised over 70 million naira. Yes, from people donating, and it's just little Nigeria donating 5,000 naira, and it's all built up to 70 million. So that's how passionate people are about it as well. And so they are getting funds to people in different states in Nigeria, helping people come out of prisons, people that have been wrongfully arrested.
Wow.
So lawyers have also been volunteering services for free to go to police stations to get prisoners out, or people they have arrested out. They're organizing ambulances for people. So people get hurt in Surulere, they organize an ambulance to go and get them. So those accounts, just following them to know what's going on. But also you can donate. So you can donate to one of those. So Feminist Coalition is the main one everyone's donating to. I know right now people can donate money to them. So they're collecting Bitcoin because apparently they've restricted their accounts right now. Yeah, they blocked it. So
oh my God.
they can only take Bitcoin right now. But yeah, so donating to that. Also, I think education is really important because a lot of people don't know why people are protesting. So they're like, oh, are they just making noise about SARS? What's really going on? And then I think the article I wrote, a lot of people are like, okay, this actually makes sense. We understand what you people are trying to do. So I think that's also important, like getting the message out there, talking to people, educating people on what's going on. Yeah.
So in terms of the account, I mean, you mentioned, obviously, someone like myself, okay, so I don't have a functional Nigerian account. I don't deal in Bitcoin. If I wanted to give pounds, are there accounts, in the US, dollar account or UK British pounds account, that people can give to if they wanted to support it one way or the other?
So in terms of that, the only account I would actually recommend is the Feminist Coalition, because that's the one I know they're being very transparent. Every day they give a clear account of what they have spent the money on, where it's gone into. It's so transparent. People are saying it's even more transparent than anything they've ever seen in government. So if you follow them, I know right now they're not taking money, but they may change that because they're always changing things every day, updating on, okay, right now we can take money, right now we can only take Bitcoin. So I would advise anyone that wants to donate to just follow their account on either Instagram or Twitter and just see the updates. And they also have a website with a donation page that tells you where they can take money and funds. So that's what I would say. Yeah.
Okay. So, as a young visionary yourself, I mean, where do you see this going?
Well, I see this as the beginning of something really big, like a new Nigeria. I really believe that we will build something of integrity, of people coming together. I think that's been the most fascinating thing for me, is that at the protest grounds we have Christians, Muslims. Muslims were praying. Christians gave them space, protected a space for them to pray. Christians came and prayed. There's no fight about religion. We're having people coming together of all tribes. Everyone's coming together at one, and I think that's an amazing thing, and I hope that's how it continues. And also just the accountability, how resourceful things have been for people to see that this can actually happen. So one thing in the police force is seeing that they don't have a database of policemen and people that get arrested. There's no database. There's nothing like that. And then that's some of the things that have been highlighted in this season, that why can't we build that? That's something a tech guy can build in like a week. Like, it doesn't take anything to do that. So I actually believe that this is the beginning of something big. It won't happen overnight. It will take years and years and years. But how people are saying is that let's tackle EndSARS first. Let them meet the 5 demands. Then from this, people are saying we're going to something else. We'll go from movement to movement. Next, we'll talk about, salaries of people, how they can make it better. Next, we'll move to education. We'll move to healthcare. And so I believe it's like a starting point of a big force for many years to come, on how we can actually move the country forward for everybody, even the policemen as well. Because we're also advocating for better environment for them, better salaries for them. And I think some don't understand. They think we're fighting against them. But no, it's actually for a better environment for everyone. Yeah.
I mean, Toby mentioned earlier on that I mean, by all means, this is a movement like no. They mentioned that this morning, before they even started, like you said, they prayed, but they also cleaned up.
Yes.
I think that's just amazing. Just this is a different breed of people. Now, one thing that I also observe is the fact that in the past, when there are campaigns like this, people start to loot and stuff like that, and then that gives the police a reason to move in and start to kill people. But we don't see that happening. So I think this is actually I think it will be sustained over time, personally, and I'm so happy to be part of just even having this conversation, So as a Christian yourself, because yesterday really was about, we started this conversation about the fact that for me, obviously, not knowing a lot about this whole EndSARS movement, I wanted to get to know a bit more. I'm sure you can say, well, you know a lot more now.
I know a lot more.
So as a Christian, how would you, how does this, how does EndSARS, how your faith inform your response to EndSARS?
Well, the Bible actually tells us to fight for the oppressed.
Yep.
And God is a just God as well.
Yeah.
He's merciful, but he's also just. And we should fight for the poor. And if you actually see, Jesus actually went around fighting for people that were oppressed and for the poor. And so the way it is that the Christians actually our responsibility. Yeah. So you may have a good life. You may be in England, but people are suffering in Nigeria. And I think that as Christians, we shouldn't turn a blind eye to that. Mm-hmm. We're actually speaking up for people and speaking up for all of us. Yeah. We're saying that we want things to be fair. We're saying we want, and one thing that I think was Aisha Yesufu that said it, that she wants a Nigeria where somebody that doesn't have any connections can become somebody.
Yeah.
And that is something that doesn't happen in Nigeria. For you to get good healthcare, you need to know somebody in the hospital. For you to get something done in the bank, you need to know somebody high up in the bank. For you to everything, you need to know someone. And as a Christian, like, everyone should have fair opportunities. Yeah. Everyone should be taken care of. Do you understand? So for me, I feel like it's the right thing to do as a Christian to make sure that we have a fair society.
Yeah.
We have a society where you're not marginalized because you come from a certain background.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what I think. And what you said earlier about people cleaning up, it's actually been amazing. The way the people during the protest, the way they have behaved with so much integrity, with so much love, which is what I think Christians should do. So basically, there was a young boy that was hawking, that was selling things on the road in Nigeria, and then he donated all the things he was selling for free to the protesters and said that because he wants a Nigeria where he can go to school.
Wow.
And then people were trying to give him money and he said no. But you know that Nigerians have organized, somebody is going to send him and pay his school fees until he's done.
Wow.
Just based on that. There was another policeman on the street, people donated things to him. Another woman that was selling things, they donated 500,000 naira and gave her. These are the protesters organizing all of this. And that's the show of love. That's the love of Christ, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's amazing.
By all means, so, I mean, now, what would you say to someone that tells you, Bible says that you should, honor those in leadership, and submit to them? What would be your response to that?
Well, I believe in honor. You should honor people that are ahead of you.
Yeah.
But another thing, that honor doesn't mean that you wouldn't speak the truth. It just says you should be wise in how you speak the truth.
Yeah.
So even if you look at America, for example, the governors, they can speak up about what they want for their state, and they all say Mr. President to their president, but they have responsibility and they speak out and they speak in truth.
Yeah.
So no one is saying that you should be rude and that you should, but at the same time, you should be able to say, okay, this is wrong. Okay, this is what we need for our country, but in an honorable manner.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like you can't bring change if you don't speak out and speak up.
Yeah.
And so it's finding that right balance between being honorable but also being truthful as well. And I think the Bible says speak the truth in love.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's what I think.
Okay. So if you were in the war room now, as we'll call it, where they are strategizing and planning, I could ask you, I'm sure you can give your views on this because you're not in the war room. But what would be your own strategy? What would you be telling them to do?
The politicians.
No, not the politicians. No, I'm talking about the protesters. Yeah, the protesters. The guys organizing the movement.
That's the thing. There's really not anyone organizing the movement, and so everyone is just doing spontaneously their own thing. And it's funny enough, a lot of the conversations are happening on Twitter. People are just saying, okay, I think we should do this. Okay, let's do this, and then everybody goes. There's no like anyone telling anyone to do.
Yeah.
But if I was to talk to protesters as a whole, I'll say that we should keep going. People shouldn't get tired because some people are getting tired. And this is a marathon; it's not a sprint. So people should just keep going when they can, rest when they can, continue as well. And that's what I would say, that we should just keep going. And it wouldn't be today because people are a bit frustrated that the government haven't done the 5 demands. So they have only ticked some boxes, but they haven't visited all the people, they haven't compensated them and stuff, and people are getting frustrated. But I'll say we should just keep going, and eventually I feel they will because it's gotten so much global buzz as well. And I just feel
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we will definitely be funding, putting our money to this because, I personally, I grew up in Nigeria, and I want to see a Nigeria where my children can choose to live in. If they wanted to leave the United Kingdom, and I won't be thinking, what's going to happen to them out there? Are they safe and all that? So definitely, I think this is a movement worth supporting, regardless of your background, your religious affiliation, your political leaning, whatever it is, it's a movement worth supporting. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us from the protest.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Take care.
God bless. Bye. Okay. All right.
So that was great. Imagine from the protest lines,
Yeah. Just hearing. To be honest, this for me, it feels like, when we say we've been praying for Nigeria as a country, as a nation, it feels like finally you're beginning to see that cloud like a man's fist forming, because this is hope. This gives hope, So I don't know where. Just having the conversations with the guys, like Vome said, for me it would be a case of, guys, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. We just have to keep going. And then for us online here, just in the diaspora or wherever we are, even if we can't support financially, it's even just calling our cousins, our uncles, our friends out there to say, guy, you want to be involved in this one way or the other, you know, lend your voice to this, you know, and just support it. I mean, there is, I think you said something about the people of something. There's a quote that you mentioned that you saw on BBC.
Oh yeah, the people in power need to listen to the power of
the power of the people. So this is the power of the people. This is the power of the people.
The power of the people is stronger than the people in power.
Yeah, the power of the people is stronger than the people in power. You know, and that is so true. So I think, for me, in a generation or two, we are beginning to see the galvanization of that this, you know, the people. And once we can galvanize and organize ourselves in that way, I think that things can happen.
And I think that the kind of the main thing is that regardless of faith, tribe, situation, people are coming together in unity.
Yeah.
For the change.
Right. A lot has been shared here. Sorry, guys, that we couldn't really take any of your comments. We hope that you know, you enjoy the conversations as we did as well. It will be, I mean, for those that joined just, you know, last few minutes, you can go back onto Instagram
listen to
TV,
our two guests.
To listen to the two guests. They were amazing. You know, they're not just talking; they are also involved one way or the other. So please make sure that you share this. You know, support the movement. You know, just do something, whether you're Nigerian or not. You know, wherever people are victimized, wherever there's oppression, you know, we want to be able to lend our voice to that. You know, thank you. We've come to the end of the session today.
Thank you for joining us today. So we hope to see you again next week. And have a great week.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
God bless.